Hey Jackson, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. I'm going to go through and talk a little bit about your mechanics, what I'm seeing, um, talk about a few things. You're doing a lot of things really good. There's just a few things that we can kind of work on to, utilize a little bit more of that lower half, because the hips, the legs, that's where we're generating power. That's where we're generating torque. So the more we can kind of incorporate your legs into the mix, it's going to help you, get more velocity. It's going to help you deliver the ball a little bit more efficiently. Um, and then we're going to kind of talk about, how you're setting up over the rubber. Where you start, where you're breaking your hands has so much to do with how you're going to finish. All right, so we got to make sure that we're setting up in a good position to get our body in the right position to drive our hips down the mound to generate as much power as we can. All right, so we'll kind of go through and we'll go through and look at, first off, your setup. All right, so your hands are a little bit in an awkward position out here. All right, I just kind of recommend a little bit more neutral angle with your wrist. We usually don't like to see extreme angles with anything. All right, so that's just kind of that might be something that's not a big issue, but that's just something that might help you out of not getting too extreme with your angle wise. All right. Okay, so next one we're going to look at is, make sure to, it's kind of hard to see, but it looks like you're on the rubber. Just make sure you're in the dirt in front. We don't want to be right on top of that plastic. All right. So through release, you're going to watch yourself kind of rush forward through that front side. All right, you break your hands really late. All right, we want to try to see you get to a position where your head and weight is staying over this back leg until you break your hands, until that body starts to go forward. All right, so you're going to see it come out of that box almost completely before you get going forward. All right, so once that knee is at its highest point, which is right here, you should still be over that back leg. All right, I'd like to see these hands a little bit lower against your chest. All right, and I can't see too here, but it looks like you're kind of looking at the ground. Once that foot comes up off the ground, we got to be locked in on that catcher. All right, it looks like you're on the catcher here, and then kind of look down, and then go, and then kind of look up really late here. Yeah, it looks like you do that. So just make sure once that leg comes up off the ground, we're on that catcher's mitt the whole time. All right? So in this position, you're going to watch where your hands break. So once this knee starts down, you do a really good job at getting your hips going down the mound. Well, we got to make sure that our hands are breaking. All right? And to have them a little bit lower is going to help you time that break. All right? So now we're going to start seeing. See how your hands are still together, you're leading well with your hips, all right? The hips are going forward, but just the fact that your hands are breaking so late, it's either gonna lag or it's gonna have to play catch up, and you're gonna see how your arm lags, all right? So what I mean by lag, okay, lower half you're doing pretty good, all right? You're doing pretty good at kind of getting those hips going first. But what you're going to see with that lag going on is you're going to see yourself cut yourself short. So you can see this foot, all right, if we kind of draw a line that looks like it's straight to the catcher, all right, you're going to see your foot pop open and come and land short, all right. So at foot strike, we'll look at your upper body in a second, but we're going to look at foot strike. So at foot strike, you're about right here, all right. Let this leg, let that body drive that leg out over that a little bit farther down. You can probably get to, somewhere out here. Just stride out. We don't want to see this knee. It's basically over your toes. We want to try to keep this angle somewhere more like this. All right. So just let that leg get out a little bit farther. If you mark off, if you do one foot over the other, you kind of mark off, 5 or 6 shoe lengths, that's about where you should be, all right? So just let this leg get out to decrease that angle a little bit more, all right? So looking at your upper body, I talked about your hands breaking late and what that's going to do to you, all right? Part of part of what else is going to help you is that you leak your left side a little bit. Let this glove kind of follow that foot farther out there. All right, so you got a good elbow height. Now just let that glove kind of get a little bit farther out, and that's going to keep you from popping open. So basically, your left side kind of rotates with that left side a little bit too soon. You know, you step too early, so that's going to cause you to kind of pull off a little bit early. So in this position, you know, we still want to see this elbow out and this glove over that front foot, all right, instead of kind of tucking it, curling it back in, all right. So what I mean by your arm lagging is you can see the scap load back here, all right. You're loading up the scaps, which is fine, but you're seeing how it's staying so loaded through release that you're never getting up on top of the ball, all right. At this position, we want to try to see you know, at foot strike, we want to try to see everything a little bit less. You know, I talked about those severe angles. We want to try to see a little bit less angle here and a little bit more, you know, on top of the ball. So your fingertips are on top of the ball. So now you're not getting this kind of this pull off. You know, it's just everything here is just rotating at the same time, and you're just kind of loading up that. It's not an unhealthy spot to be. It's just something where you need to get on top of the ball, so you're driving that ball downhill instead of kind of pushing it up and then down. All right, it just kind of wastes some momentum and energy. All right, you do get good at finishing through your back leg through release. All right, you see your back foot still on the ground, which is good. All right, so now it's just a matter of if you can get this leg out a little bit farther, you're going to be able to release the ball even closer, you know. So now your hand's going to be out here a little bit, and you got a good finish. You finished over that front foot, so everything's looking good. So now it's just a matter of breaking your hands over the rubber. So break your hands earlier before, you know, you're almost already completely extended with that front leg. Let this glove get down over that front foot instead of curling it back in. You know, you already had that glove at that weird angle when you first started, and you kind of keep that, so it kind of hampers you to let that glove get out over that front foot. And then it's just a matter of causing everything, you know, this one, we went back to the first one, and you can see you're even less strided out. You still have a good idea of hip shoulder separation. You see your hips starting to rotate, which is good. All right, now it's just a matter of using those legs, getting down the hill, so you're just not kind of rotating that front side. You can see this back foot here is turned almost completely over. Looks like you're almost straining your leg, and all that is just a function of getting that foot down here, getting longer, and then it's just a matter of getting that arm to stop dragging, and so you're not having to push the ball, you know, from here, your elbow, kind of up and then over. All right, we just want to try to see get yourself a little bit higher up on that ball, so you can deliver that ball downhill a little bit more. All right, so I mean, other than that, you have a good foundation of what your hips are doing, which is probably first and foremost for velocity. You know, you're in a position that if you can kind of straighten up your arm a little bit and kind of match up those angles, it's going to get you in a little bit healthier position. But the biggest thing is just staying over that rubber, breaking your hands over that rubber, and then get those hips going. All right, so hopefully you're having an awesome summer this year. You're having fun. Thanks for making it out to camp, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.